Bonjour, bon après-midi, bonsoir, everyone. Today's video is going to be about VEVESSIGILS. Well, today's videos came through my experience, through a dialogue I had yesterday. I did an initiation for someone from Met Kafu yesterday, and we had a discussion about VEVESSIGILS itself, you know. My initiation is a little different from traditional voodoo initiations itself. Basically, the discussion came about VEVESSIGILS, and I was explaining to the person that VEVESSIGILS are different from the names of LOA. Let me explain. I gotta explain this because there's a lot of confusion. See, when you're into this religion, you know what I'm saying? When you're into religion and you get caught up in dogma and, you know, tradition, you don't understand, you don't learn. You know, when you're dealing with spirits directly, you learn from experience with the spirit, with the LOA. You know, now, what is a VEVE? A VEVE or a VEV, again, different parts in Haiti. I think I probably say this in some old videos. Different parts in Haiti, they say things and they pronounce things different. Sometimes you can say it VEVE, you know, and sometimes you can use it as VEV, you know, whatsoever. You know, depends on different parts of Haiti. You know, different people from different spots use, you know, those terms differently whatsoever, or say them differently, or pronounce them differently, excuse me. But a VEVE is like a homing device for a LOA. It is almost like a way of you having those things, channeling down, bringing them down to their energy down to the earth. In the Western occultism, it's called a sigil whatsoever, you know. Sigils, you can say they can be, you know, it's basically sigils itself, you know. Basically, they are used to channel or bring down the energy of a specific deity, you know. That's what it's used for. Now, the difference in name is because people tend to label them. Now, here it goes. Boom. A person, let's just say they go through their ritual to find out a spirit. They get a symbol. Like, prime example, let's just say the way they find it out, they construct a VEVE, just randomly constructed. Let's just say, boom, they make their own talisman, they make a cross whatsoever, and let's just say they put casket symbols whatsoever. So now here it goes, boom. What happens is that they know they got their symbol and they power it up whatsoever. Now they label it something. They watch its manifestation and they watch its manifestation whatsoever, and they say, now this is what this symbol does. This is what it does. So what I'm going to label this as, I'm going to call this Capitaine Lamont or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, whatever. They name it whatever they want to name it. You know, now that came from what they label it as. That's how it came about. So that's how they assigned certain names and titles to certain VEVEs, you know. But when you are working in spirit, you understand that names are more than just a label. See, people that have not had experience, you know, with different traditions, they won't know that. No, now in my family, we have had an experience, a broad experience in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, where we were able to, you know, where my older generation was able to study Kabbalah, you know, and able to study other traditions as alongside of voodoo. We learned in Kabbalah that each name had a power, and this power in the name was its own spirit. So if you know about numerology, you know that, or numerology, you know that each name carries a power, and each letter in a name is a power or a spirit. So when you combine these letters together, you create a word which has power. So when you say the name of a spirit, or when you conjure it into something, you bring it into something, you have embodied its complete power. A symbol, when you use a VEVE and you label it something, you are not making a direct contact. It is you hypothesizing or believing that you just, believe. Here we go. Let me get into this belief thing. Let's just say this. It's not accurate. It is not, it's not accurate as the name. The name, when you label something, you have its complete energy. I believe that there's been some books Wallace Budge or something like that. I don't know. That, I mean, there's traditions that were historical references that make reference to ancient Egypt. I believe certain texts will explain that if you have the name of a Neteru or something like that, or Neter, you can definitely control them or whatever. If you have the name of a spirit, you have the complete control over them, because they realize, I say this, if that is so, what these Egyptian apologists were able to decipher in whatever text they had, if this is true, then this is basically gives credence to what we say in voodoo in certain camps, that a name has power. You know, when you have the name, you have the direct contact of the spirit, you know. So with that being said, I say this, that is the difference. The symbol is, or the vev or veve is the name of the spirit. That is the name. Now, when you say the name, when you say name-wise, vocabulary, communication is in words and it is in written form. Letters are basically symbols. A sign is basically a letter. When you look at the hieroglyphs, this was a language, but it were all symbols. So now when you start talking about a vev, or a veve, it is a language, it is a symbol. So now when you have these symbols, you have a form of a language. Now, a language can also be words. So we have to understand that when we're doing this, we got to understand what we're doing when we're working with veves. You know, the language, you can't just take another language and pile it on top of another language and say that, you know, you have a language. You have disorder and chaos. So when you have the veve, that is a complete different science from words. A word is another science. When you're compiling mystical words, or you're compiling words of power, they call them mantras in India, or if I'm pronouncing it correctly, you know, in Eastern, you know, Eastern spirituality, they call these words mantras. I believe in the old Egyptian tongue, it was hakua or something like that, words of power. These were, this is a science itself, you know, two different sciences. Constructing talismans and words of power, these are two different sciences, you know, and I see in most houses of voodoo, this is confusion. These things are not, these things are confused, but that comes from the lack of experience, you know. So anyhow, I hope this video is very constructive, you know, and it definitely diminished a lot of confusion which exists, because there's a lot of makakri and monkey business going on in voodoo today, you know. So I conclude this video. Definitely about to make another video. Stay tuned. But anyhow, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.